Alright, hey guys, MJ here. Today we are looking at the Olight ArkPro Ultra. So who is designed for, how it stacks up against other lights, and the 4 key features that makes this one of the best non-tactical general use work lights today. But it does have some completely useless features and an expiration date. So by the end of this video, you know if this is worth investing in. Before we start, I am giving this ArkPro Ultra away. So subscribe and comment on whether you use this light for your work. If yes, why? If not, why not? Once we hit 500 likes, I'll reply directly to the winning comment. So let's start with the biggest question. Who is this actually designed for? Planned service work. So HVAC service calls, facility maintenance rounds, automotive inspections, electrical site surveys. Basically work where you know you are doing before you do it. Now here's who is not for. Tactical use, security requiring instant response, law enforcement, emergency situations. Now why? Because the rotary dial here requires deliberate selection, not instant action under stress like the EDC29. So this is a work light for scheduled tasks, not a tactical light for emergencies. So keep that in mind as we go through the features. So first feature, the dual beam system. A facility manager I know patrols his building. He does rounds in the evenings. So 5 floors, floodlight works great for mechanical rooms at ground level, but then he needs to check the roof line 4 stories up. He can't see it clearly, so he just kind of lives with the limitation. Now here's how the ArkPro solves it. Both beams in one light is pretty cool. Let me show you. So this is the floodlight. TIR optic gives off soft, even light. 1460 lumens burst. After a while, it drops down to about 430 lumens sustain. So this gets used like 70% of the time. Mechanical rooms, engine bays, close work. So if you switch it to spot, there. So this is a smooth reflector, clean beam, 800 lumens, reaches 189 meters. So for the roof lines, high duct work, distance checking. You know the hammer versus screwdriver thing? You can drive screws in with a hammer, but a screwdriver is the right tool. So same with beams, right? Use the right one for the job. Everything becomes way easier when you got the right beam. Most people don't carry 2 lights, not too bulky, so they just pick one beam and just accept the limits. But this light gives you both beams. Just turn the dial and use what you need. Very simple. So in real world, here's the flood mode. See how it lights this whole area evenly? No harsh center. This is for close work, going through a toolbox, checking connections, general inspections, everything is visible at once. Now watch when I switch it to spotlight. Same light, just turn the dial. See that? Very tight beam, way more throw. Down this hallway, flood mode lights everything up close, but the far end is dim. Spotlight mode, can you see how it reaches down there? You can clearly see the exit sign at the end. So this works well outdoors on trails as well. Flood is great for tight winding trails where you need to see the whole path in front of you. Spot beam works for longer stretches, spotting trail markers or dangers at a distance before you head down. So just turn the dial based on what the trail looks like. Now here's the quirk that caught me off guard. Turbo mode doesn't work when battery drops below 50%. So when this first happened on the ArkPro standard, I thought the light was broken. I kept pressing the turbo, nothing. Then I charged it and it worked fine. So it turns out this is by design. Olight just completely blocks turbo access below a certain level of your battery. Nightcore doesn't do it this way. Their lights let you access turbo even when it's on low battery. They just shorten the duration. So you still get the burst when you need it, just not for as long. So that feels like the right approach to me. The second key feature is the dial controls. Some love it, some hate it. There are 3 positions: UV, flood and spot. You feel the clicks as you turn it. So here's the thing versus tail cap switches. The pros, there's no cycling through modes, you don't need to, so that's nice. Now the cons, it is slower and it requires a forward grip like this, not hammer fist like this. So if you are used to tactical lights where you can strike with the bezel while holding hammer fist grip, this doesn't work that way. I mean, you technically can, but all the controls are in front. So power button here controls brightness. Click once, on and off. Okay, double click for turbo, triple click for strobe. The laser has its own dedicated side button here. Brightness indicator on the left in white here, and battery indicator on the right in green, right? Very clean controls. Now here's the completely useless feature I mentioned. See this little upbeat LED indicator near the dial? So this changes color based on total usage hours. Unlock new colors at milestones. Around 128 hours, you can customize the color to your needs. It's basically a novelty usage tracker, not a precise hour meter. It just is gamification. It actually does nothing for actual work. What would have been useful if the LED showed battery health instead? So the more red it goes, the lower your battery capacity. Actually useful useful information for a sealed battery light. I felt this was a missed opportunity, right? Maybe the next version. So yeah, for planned service work, the dial works well. For instant tactical response, you want a tailcat switch instead. Third feature, UV light. So there are many UV lights on the market, but only certain wavelengths actually work professionally. Most UV lights are 395 nm, purple glow, weak contrast. Professional applications use 365 nm. So the ArkPro has a 365 nm with additional ZWB2 filtering. So this blocks visible light above 400 nm. So you only get pure UV light. So what is this actually for? Refrigerant detection, automotive diagnostic, water damage protection. You can also check counterfeit money. So if you use UV professionally, wavelength matters. This is the real deal. If you don't use UV in your work, then this function is only useful for checking how clean hotel rooms are when traveling. So the fourth function is the green laser here. Class 3R 5 milliwatts. Here's the key thing. The laser has its own button, so you can use it alone or combine it with any beam. You can have UV and laser, laser plus flood, even laser plus spot. Okay, so this is actually gold for some users. Now why? Because communication across distance and elevation. Like electrician on the ground, the tag is up on the mezzanine, 40 identical panels up there. Work on the one on the left means absolutely nothing. But point the laser at a specific panel, the green dot appears, no confusion, everybody knows what we're talking about. 520 nm, way more visible than red. Works even in daylight, but of course to a certain extent. So if you coordinate across height or distances, this solves real problems. Charging and carrying, USB-C on top, very nice, almost spring-loaded metal cover here. Better than the rubber flaps on most lights. 90 minutes from 0 to full, works with your laptop, power bank, vehicle charger, wall adapter, you know, universal. The usual Olight magnetic charger also works at the bottom if you already have those. It's included as well, this cable, and it works with the rest of the Olight charging ecosystem. Pocket clip is great, two-way deep carry, bezel up or down is your choice. Not as bulky as the pocket cylinder light. It does let you clip onto a cap like this, okay? Very useful. Up or down as well, no problem. Super clean. Now, magnetic tail base is an odd one. Steel panel, vertical, it stands no problem, right? See it? Try and knock it off. It's actually quite a solid hole on many surfaces. Now, here's the quirk. It doesn't stick on strongly sideways on some surfaces. Hey, look at that. This way, it just drops. This way, it's fine. So on some surfaces, it slides down, so just gotta be careful where you stick it. This happens because of how the magnets are placed. They're only on the left and right side of the base. So not a design flaw, it's just a limitation of how slim the flat profile is. There's only so much space to fit magnets. Now, stronger magnets could have helped, but this is what they went with. Test it first before trusting it completely. I dropped the light twice on some surfaces when I thought it would hold, but it didn't. When it does hold though, this gives you hands-free work. Stick it on engine hoods, flood mode, both hands-free, pretty useful for the work it's designed for. Just know the magnet limitations going in. In terms of flat light versus tube lights, here's how it compares. This is the Nightcore MH12 Pro tube style light with swappable batteries, 25mm thick. So this is what most people think of for EDC lights. Feels like carrying a small baton in your pocket. Here's the EDC 29, okay, flat light, also different carry, 16mm profile. Here's the ArkPro standard, same flat profile as the Ultra we're looking at, and the last one, ArkPro Light, like smaller version, flat profile, but just shorter here. Tube lights will print through clothing, you can see them. Flat lights sit discreet, more comfortable throughout the day. When it comes to materials, the Ultra uses OAL aluminum here. This is 1.73 times harder than regular aluminum. More resistant to scratches for sure. Is it needed? Well, it depends. So why do brands do this differentiation? Olight has the OAL aluminum, Nightcore has this PVD coating and stainless steel, other brands have carbon fiber. Every brand needs something unique to stand out. But here's what you need to understand. Stronger materials make sense if it also saves weight. Like titanium, you get durability plus weight reduction. Is a win-win. OAL is just harder. There's no weight savings, just claims it lasts longer. Now logically, if the body lasts longer but the battery doesn't, then what's the point? Regular aluminum already outlasts sealed batteries anyway. I've seen 7-year-old aluminum Nightcore still going strong. I've also seen those fancy titanium lights with sealed batteries become expensive paperweights at year 2. Fewer scratches after years of of use, but it doesn't actually make it last longer. The battery still dies at the same rate. Now on that, let's talk about this whole built-in versus removable battery debate. Okay, so think about your phone, your laptop, modern devices all use built-in batteries. What happens over time? Year 1 to 2, full performance, everything's great. Year 2 to 3, battery holds less charge. You start charging more often. Year 3 to 4, noticeably shorter battery life. Still works, just getting annoying. Now year 4 to 5, battery life is so short that you just upgrade to something new. So the same thing here. 7 hours become 5 hours, becomes 3 hours, then it becomes 2 hours. You basically use it until the runtime becomes too short for your work. For most people, that's somewhere within the 3 to 5 year range, and by then, better lights exist anyway. Higher efficiency LEDs, new features, lighter weight designs. Most people want to upgrade at that point. Now, if you prefer replacing batteries, there are plenty of options, just none of them in this flat profile design because you need to fit a battery like this in here. So the sealed battery is a trade-off. You get the flat profile, but you give up long-term control. So pick what matters more for you. Now let's talk competition. Nightcore EDC17 is $100, so why would you pay quite a bit more for this? There are key differences. EDC17 uses a slider, faster, and you can operate it one-handed even while using the light. ArkPro uses the dial, more deliberate and slower. Now beams, EDC17 is single beam only. The ArkPro Ultra, you get either flat beam here or spot beam here, more flexible. The base EDC17 has a glass breaker here. ArkPro has a magnetic base, better for hands-free use. So if you need two beams, ArkPro is your only flat light options. If you don't need both, EDC17 is faster to use and costs less. There's even a cheaper and smaller light version here with much lesser features. So should you buy the ArkPro Ultra? Let me bring this all together. So at the start, I said this is one of the best non-tactical work lights, but it has useless features and an expiration date. Olight really nailed the dual beam system. No other flat light gives you both spot and flood. That's genuinely impressive engineering in this form factor. The UV is proper professional grade, not some weak 395nm gimmick. The laser with its own dedicated button works with any beam, so that is smart design. People will actually use that. The Arc Beat LED, though, missed opportunity. Right now it's just a novelty tracker that unlocks colors. The sealed battery, honestly, I think people worry too much about this. It degrades like your phone over 3 to 5 years, and by year 4 there's going to be better LED tech, higher efficiency, new features. That's just how gear evolves. Most of us upgrade before the battery becomes a real problem. The Olight standard version is about $100. Same dual beam, same UV, same laser, same battery. Just regular aluminum versus OAL aluminum. So logically this is a better buy. But the Ultra design does look much nicer to me. The angular finish on the top, the way it's machined. Plus, I always go for the slightly brighter option when I can. I want to know that it's there when I need it. That peace of mind is worth it to me. If you don't need the dual beam, the EDC17 gives you UV and laser as well, faster slider controls, cost less, or get a swappable battery like the MH12 Pro here and you get more value in the long term. Overall, I'm quite impressed with what Olight achieved here. They solved a problem nobody else solved. That dual beam system in this form factor is really, really good. So links are in the description below. Let me know which one you're getting. I'll see you on the next one. MJ signing out.